Here is something that sounds impossible, but is completely true. The exact same company, with the exact same sales and the exact same costs in a single year, can be reported as making a healthy profit or a loss, depending only on which country's rulebook you use to do the maths. Same reality, two different answers. Stay with me, because by the end, I will show you the most unsettling fact about company accounts, the one that should make you trust the word profit a little less. Most of us imagine profit is a hard fact, like a temperature, that you simply read off. It is not. Profit is the result of a long series of judgment calls, and the rules for making those calls are written by humans, and they differ. There is no single, God-given definition of what a company earned. There is only a rulebook, and the world happens to have two big competing ones. On one side is the American system, known as GAAP. On the other, the international system, called IFRS, used across most of the rest of the world. They agree on the basics, but they diverge on hundreds of finer points, exactly when you are allowed to count a sale, how you value the things you own, how you treat a particular cost. And each of those small differences quietly nudges the final profit number up or down. Let me make it concrete. Say a company signs a big multi-year deal today. Under one rule book, it might book much of that revenue right now. Under the other, it must spread it out over years. Same contract, same cash, but one version shows a booming year and the other a modest one. Multiply that across every judgment in a giant company, and the two rulebooks can tell genuinely different stories about the very same firm. And I find this genuinely important, because we treat these numbers as objective truth. Investors move billions on them. Entire economies are judged by them. Yet underneath, profit is not so much a measurement of reality as the output of a chosen set of conventions. Change the conventions, and the reality on paper changes with it, without a single real thing being any different. So why does the world tolerate two rulebooks? Partly history, partly power. When the European Union moved thousands of its listed companies onto the international system in 2005, it looked like the world might finally converge. But America, having built its own detailed system over a century, was reluctant to abandon it. Efforts to merge the two into one global standard have largely failed, because each is woven deep into its own laws, contracts, and habits. Now, you might assume this all means the numbers are simply lies. They are not, and that is the subtle part. Both rulebooks are honest, internally consistent, and rigorously enforced. Nobody is cheating. It is just that how much did this company earn turns out to be a question with more than one legitimate defensible answer. The disagreement is not fraud, it is baked into the definition. And the reach of this is enormous. When a global company reports its results, it often has to publish them twice, once under each system, and the two profit figures can differ by billions. Cross-border investment, mergers, taxes, and any comparison of companies from different countries all wobble on this one fault line. The single most important number in business is quietly not one number, but two. And here is where it turns from curiosity into risk. Because there is room for judgment, there is room for pressure. A company under strain can lean, entirely legally, on the softer edges of the rules, choosing the interpretations that flatter it, right up to the line. Most of the great accounting scandals lived in exactly this grey zone, obeying the rules while quietly bending what the numbers meant. So here is the unsettling fact I promised. When you read that a company made a certain profit, you are not reading a fact about the world. You are reading the result of thousands of judgment calls, made under one of two rulebooks, chosen partly by the company itself. The number is real, in the sense that it follows the rules. It is not real in the sense you assumed it was. So the next time you see a company's profit reported as if it were a simple, solid fact, remember what you are actually looking at. Not a measurement, but a verdict, reached under a particular rulebook that another rulebook might well overturn. The same company can be profitable in one country and losing money in another, because the world still cannot agree what the word profit even means.